Freedom brand is a component of many things. We have around 5,000 customers that choose the Freedom over. Successful of our brand is good work of team. 2018 we have concentrated our activity on the next level. The attention that we have on the prints and embroidering that we do on our apparel, to be able to keep 100% production in Italy. This, I think, is a mix that creates the successful of the brand. My goal is never stop innovation.
Good evening, ciao a tutti, and welcome to Monza for the second round of Season 2 of the European Endurance Championship here on Le Mans Ultimate, run, of course, by the E-Racing Series. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me in the commentary box, I'm delighted to say, is my co-commentator, Daniele Brambilla, and our broadcast directors, Mariano Callo and Louis Gaspar. So, Daniele, I'm going to bring you in now. Welcome to Monza. We come from Portimao a couple of weeks ago, where it was, of course, Cristian Malguera who won in Hypercar, and Luca D'Amelio who took the honours in GT3. Qualifying at Monza has just finished then, and this is going to be a very, very different track. And as a local driver here, I'm sure you guys are going to be right at home here.
Well, that was a really good Italian at the start. Really, really nice.
It's
I see you rehearsed that. You definitely rehearsed that. And also, I should say welcome, because I live basically 9 kilometers away from this track. So it really is my home race. And yeah, absolutely. Portimao is a completely different track from this one. This requires basically no downforce, especially if we're talking about the hypercars. And Portimao is completely different. We have a lot of height changes, really high load corners. This is a little bit. I mean, there's a reason why this is one of the fastest tracks usually in the calendars, right? This track. What can I say about this track? I just love it. I mean, I might be a little bit biased because I live really close to it, but it is one of the most historical tracks ever made, as we're right now, or the drivers are already gridding, seems.
Indeed, and they are.
Yeah, I basically know this track quite well. I've been here quite a few times. Unfortunately, never driven on it in real life.
Wow.
There's one thing, right? There's one thing that
if you had.
well, you know.
Well, because of all the
there's. Yeah, because of the sim racing, but you never know, right? There's always like some resources.
Training for something, aren't we? Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's just go
sorry,
very, very briefly. Go on.
Let's talk about what we can see right now on the screen. I think this is
that's a great
I want to say
to start.
Exactly. This is a world's first. We actually have a working overlay we cross our fingers when we say working, but if it actually is working, there you go. First time in LMU. And
Always
hope you guys like
insult
it.
the graphic designers at the first opportunity. That always ends well, Daniele. But,
Absolutely.
We see Davide Arduini has put in a comment saying Forza Pan Corsa. So clearly there's one team that has some support in the chat, which is always lovely to see. We are about 10 seconds away from the start of the half formation lap here. And as you can see, Christian Malguera in car number 21 is on pole position is that a Ferrari? I think they've stuck with the Ferrari. Yeah, sorry. The Lamborghini Ferrari logos on the overlay look a little bit similar from the distance.
No.
But there you can see he is on pole ahead of that is a Porsche, I think, that's in second position.
Correct.
Yeah, I forget who.
Giuseppe Pastore.
It's Pastore, of course. Yes.
Yeah, it's the two Pastore brothers. Yeah, for the Shiba Racing, or Team Shiba.
Exactly. So it'll be fascinating to see how Pastore gets on in that number 13 on the front row. And you've got Abel Sequeira, who was second last time out. He has taken pole position in GT3 as well. So that's going to be fascinating to see if he can maintain the advantage. We've got two BMWs on the front row. The BMW historically quite good in a straight line, so it tends to do quite well at Monza, as we see the Team Shiba looking enviously at the lead in front of it. You can see the second Pastore car right behind Nicky Pastore, isn't it, of Giuseppe Pastore. So he was in action at Portimao. They're looking to do some damage to Simfream here. The race begins at Monza, 1 hour 15 minutes on the clock, ready to go. And you can see Christian Malguera has made a huge bid for freedom as they rush forward into turn one. The two Pastores on the right hand side, and you've got Malguera and Rocon on the left. Nicky Pastore braking late into the first chicane, the red Affilio, but not able to take advantage as Sequeira just holds on to the lead, as that looks like Marco Lodi Rizzini has not been able to get through into second position. He is stuck in third behind the second BMW. That's Tuzi, of course, who I don't think was in action last time, so I didn't recognize his name. But yeah, Tuzi having a great qualifying, holding on to P2. But look, Marco Lodi Rizzini is all over the back of him, and so too is Salvatore Zitello in the third BMW.
Yeah, same as the start of the last race, right? Two BMWs at the top and the start, the head of the field, sorry. And then the Lexus. It's always the same cars that are very, very popular on this game, it seems. The BMW, the Lexus. Sometimes the Ford can be competitive. Doesn't seem like this time, unfortunately, as a Ford fan myself. We have Tobias Blumschein 8th for Project Valorous, and Daniele Vidimari P10 for Pancorsa.
Yeah, Blumschein was having a great race until he sped in the pit lane 2 times in a row at Portimao. So he's obviously had a slightly trickier qualifying, down in 8th at the moment, but he's so experienced and he's got some great car control and pace under his belt then. So yeah, Blumschein in the Mustang could well be fighting his way through the pack as this one goes on. You see, we're looking at the moment at Vidmari and Nicola Pagani in what is currently the battle for P10. And that's the second of our Mustangs. You can see Blumschein just in the foreground there, holding off Gandosi, I believe. And now Vidmari desperate to be part of the action with Pagani breathing down his neck here. But here we cut back to that P8 battle. Gandosi trying to use the strength of the BMW. He's going to go to the outside here, putting the pressure on the Valorant Mustang of Tobias Blumschein. Blumschein holding the inside. You can see the Virtual Drivers Alliance car in a bit of a battle just ahead of him. That's one of the BMWs, isn't it? And Blumschein is able to hold on to that P8 through the red Affilio then. So some good defensive work there, and there was no way through for Andrea Gandosi.
It's going to be interesting to see the strategy for this. We believe the drivers will have to pit for sure, because the cars cannot do 75 minutes straight on fuel. But it's going to be interesting to see who's going to save and who's not. We know for sure some people will be pushing right from the start. We've seen Sequeira do exactly the same thing in Portimao last time around. Or someone will try and go as long as possible, like D'Amelio did. D'Amelio unfortunately missing out on this round due to personal health, but he'll be back for round 3.
Okay, sorry to hear that. We wish Luca D'Amelio all the best then. Fantastic driver, of course, as we have seen earlier this season and in the main sort of endurance championship, of course, on the previous season on R Factor 2 then. But early stages of this race, we've been watching GT3 very closely because I think the hypercars are a little bit spread out now. We have still got Malgera leading from
it's Giuseppe. Giuseppe
Giuseppe, yes. Giuseppe. I forgot if it was Nicky or Giuseppe. Yeah, so there we go.
Yeah,
Rokon has actually lost third. Rokon has lost third then to Nicky Pastore in the green team Schuber, as we look at Marco Lodi Rizzini desperately trying to put some pressure on. That's Norris in front of him, not Lando Norris, but the other one, isn't it?
No, it should be. It's a Tutsi. I know it's. Wait, no.
Yeah, Rizzini's right behind in 7th, isn't he? So as we see Blumschein
sorry,
defending.
I'm confused, sorry.
There we go. This is going great already. And not just because I'm severely
The graphics
ill.
is confusing. We need to fix it.
Yeah, we've got to learn all the
Let's go back
initials.
to the fight for P3.
Here we go. The two Pastore brothers closing or being closed in on from behind by Michele Rokon, who is giving Giuseppe Pastore a bit of a hard time to get over the curbs at Ascari, and that is quite dangerous because you can get so unsettled if you use too much curbs at the sort of high-speed chicanes like Ascari. Even the Lesmos can really catch you out and send you deep into the gravel if you're unwary there. But while this fighting is going on, Christian Malgera is absolutely streaking away, 2.3 seconds ahead of everybody else, and you can tell the two Pastores are trying to think of a way to not hold each other up too much, especially with Rokon still a big threat to them.
Nothing new under the sun. Malgera always dominating wherever he goes. And that Simfrim esports team, which I think it's fair to say it's probably one of the best teams in Italy at the moment in the sim racing scene. Rokon struggling a little bit. I probably would have wagered that he would have been a little bit closer, a little bit more competitive. Although, again, maybe Malgera is just not doing any fuel saving and or energy saving in this case, and Rokon is actually doing it.
Absolutely. So the good thing for Team Schuber is they can sort of afford to split the strategies here. Whichever of the Pastore brothers thinks they're faster can sort of just take second position and try and catch up to our race leader Malgera. Then as we cut back to the intense GT3 battle, Sakura still leading from 2Z and Marco Lodi Rizzini. That is your top three. 2 BMWs, then the Lexus. And this here is Simone Rabiti in the Simframe Lexus, desperately trying to get into fourth position. Salvatore Zitello for Virtual Drivers Alliance, providing a bit of a roadblock. And then there's another BMW behind. That is Manuele Norris, isn't it? Yeah, Manuel Norris. I was trying to remember Norris's first name. It certainly wasn't Lando. I remembered that much. But there we go. The erstwhile Formula One Championship leader, of course. But yeah, Manuel Norris would like to emulate him at least, if not, he's probably not driving a remotely similar car in the BMW compared to the McLaren F1 car, as there you can see some of the virtual energy remaining. So this is interesting because we don't usually get to see that for the GT3s on the default graphics. So this is really, really well done from those behind the scenes at the e-racing series to get this to us. You can see everybody on about 83 to 85% in GT3 and similar in hypercar as well at this early phase. So I do wonder if anybody's going to try and do the non-stop. I think you do see it sometimes at tracks like Fuji when the race is just an hour, but I think with the extra 15 minutes, it's inevitable that it's a matter of everybody trying to stretch the fuel out as long as they can, so that when they stop at the end, they're in the pit lane for not as long as somebody is hit. Is that Pagani in the wall at Ascari then? So he has gone over the curb and gone flying into the barriers. No, not Pagani,
No,
sorry.
I
so
think
someone
it
outside
might be
the top 10.
Blumschein. It might be Blumschein. It looked like a Ford.
Oh, I think you're right there.
It is.
Blumschein.
He's missing the rear wing as well.
A very hobbled Mustang back to the pits. And for the second race in a row, it has not worked out for Tobias Blumschein. So he will go in for repairs as he goes through the fearsome Parabolica Alboreto corner. And finally into the pit
It's really
entry.
not working out for him in these first two rounds, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a shame. But certainly not much you could have really done there. As we cut back to this, looks like is that Marco Lodi Rizzini in the Lexus, trying to chase down Tuzi for P2 here. Yep, indeed it is, as they clobber the curbs at the second chicane. What's the name of the second chicane at Monza again? I'm drawing a blank at the moment.
Roger.
Della Roggia, that's it. As look at the wide line that Tuzi takes through Lesmo 1, dipping wheels into the gravel there. There's still yellows out of Scari, interestingly.
Yeah, very lenient the game with the track limits around Lesmo 1, and ironically very non-lenient out of Lesmo 2.
Yeah, you got to know when to push them and when to be cautious. As we come up to Ascari again. Is there any debris from the accident? That's what I am wondering here as we look at Simone Robiti, top representative for Simframe. Had a bit of bad luck. I think felt that there was a better result on the table in the top three in Portimao, and Robiti now keen to put that right. But again, Salvatore Zitello just blocks his path here, and the Lexus, I don't really think, has the raw sort of top straight line speed and acceleration that the BMW has. So Robiti's having to use a bit of slipstream in the Lexus to stay in touch here. If he can get close enough to do a late braking move, maybe into the red Filio or maybe later in the lap as well, that's probably his best opportunity, because I think he's not really going to out-drag that car.
There was also an overtaking opportunity ahead of it, but I couldn't really quite figure out what happened. Actually, it seems that it should be. I'm sorry, but I'm getting a little bit confused. It should be.
That's Tuzi
Sekera,
and
correct. Yeah, Sekera and
Tuzi under attack. Yeah. Oh, not Sekera. I think Sekera is still about 3 seconds ahead. So that is Marco Lodi Rizzini trying to attack in the Lexus. He's trying to go around the outside at Della Roggia there and not able to do so, as Robiti just nips a little bit on the gravel there. But yeah, you can see Tuzi in the blue and yellow BMW holding up the Carloni Racing Lexus of Marco Lodi Rizzini. As there you saw that's Norris, of course, testing the track limits. It's his turn to do that and dip into the gravel at the Lesmos there. So we are looking at a five-way fight for second position on screen at the moment. And that is allowing Abel Sequeira to just run away with the race up front. He's doing a Christian Malguera here. As look at Marco Lodi Rizzini just trying to weave around in the braking zone to put off Tuzi here. But Tuzi, to his credit, he doesn't quite have the pace to keep with Sequeira, but his defense so far has been pretty difficult for Rizzini to find a way through at the moment. The
insane top speed of the BMW enough, apparently, to fend off the attacks from Marco Lodi Rizzini. Although I think he got a little bit of a poor exit here out of the last corner, the Parabolica corner. So I think now that's his chance.
In theory, yes, but look, this is where the strength of the BMW comes in. So Rizzini has got to stay as close as possible then as they come towards that braking zone to the first corner, but they're being lapped by the hypercars. Oh, and Rizzini hits the back of Tuzi into the first chicane, and Tuzi has to cut across there. All the while, you can see Malguera is coming through to lap our leaders in GD3, and it's a mobile chicane as he tries to go around the outside at Curva Grande. Just enough space left for the Simframe race leader there. Only one more GD3 to negotiate of Sequeira, but look at this, Tuzi still under attack, and Rizzini, I think, will feel a little bit annoyed that he hit the back of Tuzi, and also that he saw Tuzi cut across the chicane. In front of him is all you see the hypercars having to swerve around like crazy to negotiate. I think that is Rocon that's got back past the second of the Pastore brothers, Giuseppe Pastore.
Yeah, it's all happening right now. All of a sudden, we've had a little bit of a lull, and now here we go, fighting everywhere, even hypercar field. I think, if you want my 2 cents about the crash, I think it's definitely on Lodi Rizzini, who I think way too optimistically tried to brake way too late. For sure, there was a little bit of a movement under braking by Tuzi, but I wouldn't say that. That's definitely a problem on the BMW driver.
Maybe a bit of desperation from Rizzini, knowing he's got the car that's not the best for this circuit. As now look at Zitello is about to punish him. contemplates a move up the inside into the Parabolica, but then backs out. So yeah, the Lexus is really fighting a war all on his own here, and that mistake has given a bit of breathing room to Tusi, and now Zitello is the danger man that Marco Lodi Rosini has got to keep his eyes on. We're about to meet the 1 hour remaining mark, so 15 minutes elapsed nearly. Here comes Marco Lodi Rosini defending up the inside as there's hypercars in between them. That's the Arm Serpent number 42 of Penimpede there, and around the outside goes Salvatore Zitello into third place there. So Zitello judged that absolutely perfectly there.
I showed a little bit wide, I guess, a little bit of karma there, and he got overtaken. It went from the predator to the prey, and suffered for it.
Yeah, we also have a couple of comments in the chat. Will Snowden says hello. Simo Mello says Rizzini P3, Rizzo P7. So that's Michele Rizzo in the second of the Virtual Drivers Alliance BMWs, isn't he? That was part of that podium fight in the closing stages at Portimao. But yeah, Simo Mello pointing out that the three initials has a couple of flaws, not just the Pastore brothers, but also Rizzo and Rizzini.
It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress.
There we go. Let's go back to Simone Rabiti, who is stuck behind. Norris has actually gotten through now, past the Simframe there. So again, it's BMWs gaining positions on the Lexus cars here. So this is a circuit where the Lexuses are Lexus cars. I don't think there's a plural for Lexus that makes sense here in English. But
it's difficult. There's two schools of thought. It technically isn't a Latin word, so it wouldn't be Lexi, but Lexus sounds weird, so...
Yeah, just the plural of Lexus, I think, is just Lexus.
Yes.
See, that yellow flag from Tobias Blumschein still
I think
stubbornly refusing to clear, so I guess we'll just have to ignore that.
It's going to go to the end, yes. Unfortunately, it seems to be a bug, yeah.
It's a bit like the old overlay for R Factor 2, where you get like the code 80 on, and then it would just never disappear. But sometimes if you forgot to click it. But yeah, anyway, here comes Rabiti trying to get even with... Manuel Norris here, but not really able to make an impression into the first chicane. He's very close once he gets on the brakes. The Lexus doesn't look too bad on the brakes, but in terms of the straight line speed and acceleration, if you lose touch with the pack, then you basically are in trouble. So you sort of almost, you want someone in front of you that you can slipstream to sort of compensate for the straight line speed disadvantage here.
Oh, absolutely. He definitely needs to stick with Norris here. Maybe overtake him if he can, but again, as you said, this is just the worst track. If you don't have top speed, there's no way you can overtake. There's always a long straight that leads into a hard braking zone. Unless there's a mistake by Norris. Well, there you go, called it.
Norris has been doing that the whole race, though, like taking the widest line possible. Through Lesmo 1, nearly doing the same through Lesmo 2, and you can see
but that's a poor exit. That's a poor exit out of Lesmo 2, so I think now that's his chance. He's going to go on the inside. There's a very nasty bump here on the braking zone. Oh, and Norris defends, actually, the position and lives to fight another day.
Yeah, but he gets a bit squirrely on the exit of Ascari, so Rabiti might have another chance on the run into the Alboreto Parabolica then. 58 minutes remaining on the clock here, and everybody yet to do a pits. I think only Tobias Blumschein has been in the pits then, so I think he's still in the race. I haven't seen him retire, so until I hear otherwise, we have to assume he is still in the running. Then, as look at this, Rabiti gets a title line on the exit Parabolica, gets a wheel alongside here. Can Emanuele Norris do anything to hold him back here? You can see Rabiti may end up tucking in for a bit more slipstream, but he's using the fuel mix here to get alongside as they go towards the red affiliate. The Lexus brakes late. Can the Simframe driver go up into fifth position? They're side by side, and it looks like Rabiti is through on the exit of the red affiliate. There's somebody ahead of them has hit trouble. It's Emanuele Norris.
Yeah, he definitely misjudged the braking zone, but according to the current racing rules, which I completely disagree with, he kept the car on the track, so technically the overtake is valid. And this means that Rabiti actually gained the position, and there should be no controversies with this.
There we go. So we got Zitello in third. Is that Rizzo and Rizzini fourth and fifth then?
It doesn't get any more confusing now.
No, we'll just have to stick with it as best we can. It really didn't help that my stream started lagging like crazy during that battle. So I was obviously trying to imagine what was happening in between the lag, if that makes sense. But I'll try and stick with it as best I can. Malguerra, by the way, still leading by, I think, about 5.3 seconds ahead of Nicky Pastore. Rocon is still leads Giuseppe Pastore. Marchand is 5th. And then it is somebody else in 6th and Penimpede in 7th. And that is all of the hypercar field there. As we look at Nicky Pastore desperately trying to get even with Michele Rocon going very deep and somehow getting the Porsche 963 to stop in time into the Della Roggia chicane. Nicky Pastore, I think, looks very frustrated.
Yeah, surprisingly hard on the picks. It looked really, really way too fast into the Roggia chicane. Somehow kept it in. I think at that point you're better off cutting and you lose way less.
Now, this is the problem here. You can see for the Lexus, as we see Manuel Norris catching up to the back of it here as he tries to get past, who's that in front of him?
It's Rabiti.
Rabiti, Simone, of course. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's laying so bad that it's like, which pixel is R, which is A, and which is S. So, no, it's a B, sorry. There we go. It proves my point. But anyway, Rabiti is now got clear in front of him, but he's at the head of this train. So the lack of straight line speed for the Lexus, that could be a bit exposed here, because you can see, I think that's Michele Rizzo is a couple of seconds in front of him now in his BMW. Yes. So Rizzo, in theory, could disappear out of view, and that could leave Rabiti with a bit of a tough defensive job here. He's got to nail every exit here to prevent Norris from getting back in front of him. You now see Andrea Gandosi from Timelli ERT has joined this battle as well in the fight for 6th position.
Striking livery on that BMW. Very iconic car, I would say. It has already become a very iconic car, the BMW M4. They even improved it with the Evo version. They made it even more aggressive. I think the livery just suits it perfectly.
Yeah, there we go. I think there's a lot of very, very good liveries historically in the e-racing series. I keep thinking back to the Sweet Force team. Always had the chocolate liveried hypercar as well, which I always loved from the Polish squad. But there are a number of really, really strong liveries. And yeah, let's hope we see as many of them as possible as the drivers make the switch over to Le Mans Ultimate. It's still pretty early days with the game. I'm sure you'll agree, Daniel, having a few kinks that need to be resolved. There's we saw very briefly the virtual engine. We're reaching about 50% there from a lot of the hypercar field. You can see Sequeira has built a 7-second gap to Tuzi there, as Tuzi is now starting to look very, very comfortable with keeping Zitello behind him. I think it's the Mustang that saved the most virtual energy, but it's down in 9th. That's Vidal, is it? I don't remember his name. Vidimari, that's it. I don't know where Vidal came from. But anyway.
Juventus 2015.
So I should know that because he's been driving for about 10 years. So there's Gandosi then closing on the back of Norris, and Manuel Norris, since sort of cutting across the chicane and losing a position as a result. We see a comment from Garden who says, the overtake didn't look that fair. Looks like he was pushed off track, referring to Norris, of course. So yeah, now, if anything, Rabiti is now starting to pull away, and Gandosi is looking the next in line to take advantage here. So Manuel Norris is being slowly shuffled backwards in this race.
That's also a beautiful serve to brag about something that we have here at E-Racing Series, which is the live race direction. So if the driver of Norris feels like he was hard done by, some of his team, potentially, if he has any, can appeal to the current decision, I would say. And in case, he will get a penalty, which is definitely potential. If you ask me, unfortunately for the current racing rules and with the rule book that we've seen thrown around everywhere right now in the world, if you're slightly ahead of the apex and you keep the car on track, then it's your position. But I would definitely agree. I think 20 years ago this wouldn't fly.
Indeed. Meanwhile, there has been a bit more action. Paolo Penimpede has cleared Ramadan for sick position in the hypercars as we see more battling. This is Nicky Pastore desperately trying to go up the inside through the Rode Filio. Now he's on the outside for Curva Grande as he tries to steal third position back from Michele Rocon. The Porsche has got the better exit here. It's going to have the inside for Della Roggia. He forces Rocon to the outside, and Nicky Pastore is through in that number 73. If as long as he nails the exit, dips into the gravel, and Rocon's not done yet. He's going to try and brake late up the inside, but locks up into Lesmo number 1 and has to reluctantly back out. So Nicky Pastore with an absolutely full send move into the Rode Filio is back into third.
Yeah, unfortunately, we missed the start of the overtake, but the actual development of it was absolutely incredible. And Nicola Pastore proving that he's really, really fast today. He wasn't as competitive in Portimao, where the two Ferraris just led the field of course, Malgetta and Rocon. But this round, the Porsches seem to be on the prowl.
Yeah, as we see, is that Ginnikin making the first stop in the Aston Martin as well. So that is an interesting development
It's
there.
very early.
Yeah, it is pretty early with 50
Only
minutes left on the clock.
25 minutes. Yep.
So certainly it could be an unplanned stop, but yeah, certainly Franz-Jan Ginnikin, I think, is going to be one to watch then as he emerges in 13th position. Now you see, this is the problem for Pastore. He's got the Virtual Drivers Alliance
that was
car.
Giuseppe. That was Giuseppe Pastore.
Oh, dear.
Giuseppe Pastore.
Pastore!
And then spun again.
Is tapped around by the VDA car, and that puts Giuseppe Pastore down to 4th then. So a horrible sequence of events where he just trips over two of the GT3 cars in quick succession there, and that hands his brother and teammate Nicky Pastore P2 and Michele Rocon P3. So, well, these guys are all tripping over each other. Malgera is just making hay up front.
I also wonder what the Resurrection will have to say about his rejoin, because he didn't take the artificial chicane that's made by Bollards in the inside of the first chicane. I would agree he lost enough time probably to warrant not having to take it, but we'll see. Maybe we'll just get a slap on the wrist.
Well, it's a bit awkward because he was spun around in the middle of the chicane, and he's going to lap these guys again as Rabiti is in a little bit of a fight with is that Rizzo in the BMW ahead of him, isn't it? So that could get very, very tasty. He's going around the outside at Ascari. Surely that move is not going to work, as they still, I think, side by side. Did Rabidi make it through? No, he's still tucked in behind, so something had to give there, and it was Simone Rabidi there. As you see Gandosi, who's cleared Emmanuel Norris. Now he fancies a go at getting involved in this too, as the lapped car of Ginnikin gets out of the way.
I wonder if he changed tires as well. He seems to be slow out of the corners. Sure, he's been lapped anyway, so he definitely wasn't exactly on pace. But I think he might have changed tires as well. This is also very interesting dynamics. What do you do? Do you change tires? Do you not change tires? The race is short, 75 minutes. But usually in LMU, when you change tires, you get a little bit of a benefit, even though obviously you have to take the grunt of 12 seconds of, let's say, penalty because of changing tires and against not changing them.
Well, and again, because he's pitched so early, Ginnikin is now a lap down because he's just put himself in the pack, and they're all so bunched together that if he lets one through, he's kind of got to let everybody through, and it just loses him a load of time. So yeah, that's the advantage of staying out a bit later, is that you're pitting at roughly at the same time as everybody else. As we see, Ramadan has lost a bit of ground to Paolo Penimpede as a result of the traffic there. He's still about 8/10 behind and desperate to get back into P6 here, but the Arm Cerberus is looking that little bit more solid here as the two Ferraris duel for the wooden spoon. But look at this. This is absolutely kicking off here. Tuzi is looking like he is under attack here for what was looking like a comfortable second place. Zitello is now up the inside, and he's brought Marco Lodi Rizzini with him as well. So I think Tuzi has had a big off at Lesmo 1 and 2.
Yeah, somehow Tuzi tumbled down the order, but we couldn't really see exactly what happened. Now it's Zitiello, Lodrizzini, and Tuzi all fighting together for that dreaded P2 that no one seems to want to keep at this point. Oh, that was
Yeah.
a really late breaking point for Tutsi. Sorry, I keep getting confused because it's a white and it's a blue car.
Yeah, there we go. So yeah, Tuzi lives to fight another day, but we got no replay, so unfortunately we can't see exactly how that transpired. But the free car train, Zitello, Rizzini, and Tutsi all bunching together into the red Filio, and it's the BMW Virtual Drivers Alliance car that leads from the Carloni racing car, and then Tuzi in, I believe it's just the custom livery, isn't it? Might be a real life GT3 livery from
No, it's
Wonders.
it's the official 46.
It is, there we go, yeah. I thought it looked familiar. There we go. So Tuzi now has got a little bit of an advantage in the straights compared to Marco Lodi Rizzini, but Rizzini has learned to sort of just tuck in behind Zitello and follow him around, and that has served to good effect there. I think if he'd not done that, then no way would he have passed Tuzi, because he had one opportunity there and he took it with both hands. As look at Zitello going a little bit wide in Lesmo number one. Marco Lodi Rizzini is putting him continuously under pressure, and I think Zitello is not enjoying this at the moment.
In the meantime, Sequeira is just gone. He checked out. And again, I wonder if he's actually on a different strategy, or on the same strategy, I want to say, as Portimao, but this different strategy compared to everyone else. And it'd be cool if we could see the virtual energy right now, because I think we're about 10 minutes away from the first bidders. Unfortunately, it's really, really laggy and really blocky, the stream, so we cannot read it, but hopefully it will fix it.
I'll have to
Should
look
be
at
around
the YouTube
30.
one in the background, yeah, to sort of figure it out. So we might get 30-second delayed energy readings then. Yeah, 35, 36 for Rabiti, I think, is the highest one I'm seeing. Oh, there was no Ginnikin obviously on 90 having pit, so he refreshed the virtual energy as well, and he would have had to refresh it quite a lot to make sure he gets to the end as well. As we see, the trio.
Also, Bloomshine is DNF, as we can see.
There we
graphics.
go. Well, that confirms it
Confirmed.
then. So a big shame. 2 retirements in a row for Tobias Blumschein. Hopefully his luck will turn around. I've seen him in a hypercar in LMU in the BMW a couple of updates ago. So I don't know how competitive it was at the time, but he was very, very good. Actually took pole in a drying track and qualifying for, I think, VMS Contender or Gold Split, whatever it was called at the time. They keep changing the name of the series. I mean, we can't really talk, but with EEC and EES, but yeah, nonetheless, this round continues. 44 minutes left on the clock, and you can see Michele Rocon up to third, but still with a great chance of second position. But it looks like Pastore, Giuseppe Pastore, is saved about 3% more, and it looks like have we lost one of the... I think Marchand also was able to get past Nicky Pastore. Yeah, 8 seconds between them there. So that explains why the Toyota has gone up to P4. It's not far behind. Marchand did complete the podium last time out at Portimao as well. And he's got that sort of brightly coloured, very 80s looking Toyota there, if I do say so myself, with the big pastel colours. So I think I compared it to like Birdie Bassett Sweets in the Portimao commentary, because that was a sort of popular sort of sweets. It's still quite popular today, but they have these licorice with sort of these very, very bright garish kind of colours. It reminds me of the Toyota. It doesn't look too dissimilar to the Timelli ERT of Gandosi, actually, come to think of it, as the Italian launches out at the final corner, trying to get even with Norris. These two have been going back and forth for a little while. I think just trying to slipstream each other to catch up to that free car train in front of them. It does look like Rabiti actually has lost out, I think, to Rizzo. Oh no, he stayed stuck behind Rizzo, hasn't he? So there's been no real movement there. So it's all a bit of a stalemate, really, in GT3. We've seen some mistakes deciding the battles, but now everybody's getting a bit more cagey at half distance now that fuel is becoming a factor, and they're trying to lift and coast a bit more.
Strategic battles, that's what we call them when things get boring.
Really? I just call it dead air that I have to fill, but...
Well, Marchand, let me talk about a little bit about him. He's a very active driver in the LMU community, a French driver. I think he's been involved since the start of the sim, and in fact, even in RF2. And probably not the fastest driver ever, but one thing that he definitely has is consistency. He's really, really consistent, and he gets the car to the finish line. That's definitely one of his skills. And I want to say, in this world, in 2025, where sim racing is all about hot lapping, that's refreshing to see.
Absolutely. So you do need a full skill set as well, and often in endurance races, especially when we're doing the multiple hour races, a driver like Marchand that will just keep going and keep setting consistent lap times over, say, a 12 or 24 hour race, that can be worth its weight in gold. And yeah, Marchand has had some good performance. I remember he always seems to drive the Toyota because he did the VMS Gold in the Toyota a couple of seasons ago as well, and got a couple of podiums actually, although I remember a couple of times we crashed out from the lead, which he probably doesn't want to be reminded of. But yeah, nonetheless, we're seeing similar gaps in the leaders. There's our race leader, Malguera, lapping the GD3 pack again. Malguera leading by 11 seconds. Sequeira, meanwhile, leading Zitello by about 9.2 seconds then. Zitello still with Rizzini and Tuzi all over the rear wing and not giving him any respite whatsoever. Although there is a small gap starting to emerge behind Zitello, come to think of it. So I think, in comes Ribiti, and the wheel is gone. Oh dear, so he's had a huge accident, I think, in the final sector. Because of the ever-present yellow flag symbol, it would have been difficult to spot it without cutting to him.
He also missed the pit stall. He overshot the pit stall.
I'm not surprised. He's got half his braking
sure.
gone, and as long with the whole wheel. So this is going to be a long stop. Luckily, he has made it back to the pits because that must have been a huge crash. I'd be surprised if maybe he collided with a hypercar trying to lap him or something, if maybe that was the cause, or it was just while he was in that battle with Rizzo just in front of him. Maybe he tapped the back of Rizzo, got sent into the barrier, and that's how the wheel parted company. But yeah, nonetheless, that moves everybody else up a spot. It does mean Ginniken's strategy means that he's probably not going to be at the tail end of the GD3 field, luckily for him. So, because this is almost certainly going to be a much longer stop for Ribiti. There you see Ramadan trying to chase down Penimpede. The two Ferraris dueling over that sixth position, but you can see the green Ferrari, the number 8, is ever so slightly he's just sort of following Penimpede around. They're 15 seconds off. Is it Nicky Pastore? Yeah, in 5th. So Giuseppe, sorry. So it's going to be difficult for either of them without some more mistakes up front for them to fight for 5th. So they're really just battling with each other, aren't they? And the virtual energy is now starting to run out as we approach half distance in the race now.
Yeah, we've fallen into the yellow in the graphics, which signifies below 20. And it's honestly impressive how Nicola Pastore managed to save 3% more over Rocon and 2% more over Malguera. That's pretty much a lap.
It could well be in the end, and that could give a significant overcut come the final stages. And indeed, if you pit later and have to change tyres, you've got slightly fresher tyres as well, as we see Ribiti continuing to be repaired. But he is in 10th position, and Pagani goes through now as well. I think he's also made his stop after hitting a few issues early on. So yes, Ribiti drops outside the top 10. Frustrating for the Simframe driver. This is feeling like the last ES season where Simframe had some, was it the pink car or the junior team? Ribiti was part of. They had some amazing races where they would win, and then there'd be other races where they would basically be having 6 accidents over the course of 6 hours or something like that, and their race would just be absolutely miserable and horrible, as we see Ramadan nursing his car into the gravel slightly as he struggles to keep Penimpede in sight.
Yeah, the Somalian driver here, which I find incredible, he's actually playing from Somalia. He doesn't really seem to have the pace, not even to keep up with Paulo, but he's there. He's there. He's trying to do his best. Ferrari's not an easy car, definitely. I mean, there have been moments in the game, well, I want to say pretty much every single time, but the Ferrari was absolutely the fastest car, the best choice. It was great on tires. It was basically the best car all around. Now, with the latest BOP, something has changed, and we can see the Ferrari is not as dominating. It's definitely competitive. We see it. Margera is still dominating, but he's dominating in this series. If we look, for example, at VMS, we see a multitude of other cars. We've seen the BMW, for example, being slightly competitive, the Cadillac. So the BOP at the moment in the hypercar is pretty good. I think in the GT3 can still be refined a little bit.
I think I agree with you on that, especially because I think it was Kobe Chan in Aston Martin Valkyrie that actually took pole position in Qatar last night as well in the Platinum Split, as we see finally coming out the pits is Simone Rabidi in Simfreem Lexus number 46 returning to the pack, but he is definitely in last now by some significant distance, so it will take an absolute miracle, I think, for Simone Rabidi to get an anywhere near decent result out of this. So the rest of the 36 minutes of this race is effectively a test session for him. But yeah, let's see how the rest of the pack does. Will Ginnikin's gamble, pitting as early as he did after only 25 minutes? He's certainly nursing the virtual energy to get to the end, but surely everybody else is going to pit and come out still ahead of him, pretty much, with maybe one or two possible exceptions. As we see, look at the Simframe Ferraris, Margera and Rokon, below 8 and 9% now in terms of their virtual energy. If they go below that, they could be in for a 100-second penalty, and that could be curtains to their races. So both of them have got to be careful here, but at the same time, 35 minutes left to go. You want to try and eke out the fuel as long as you can, but in the hypercars, I've seen a lot of races at Monza where towards the closing stages, they're all just struggling to maintain the fuel, even if they have had a pit stop. So yeah, it can be a real challenge to make the fuel and virtual energy go the distance here, even with a top-up midway through. But yeah, Margera has got a big gap that he can use to lift and coast in at least, but no such luxury for Rokon, who's in that tight fight with Niki Pastore, still 1.8 seconds ahead of him.
I think it's going to be another 2 laps, maybe, for the Ferraris of the Simframe Esports to go into the pits. And for sure, Pastore is going to go much longer than that. He's definitely going to go a lap longer. Maybe he'll try even 2 at this point. I have to be honest, I don't know exactly how much virtual energy they use per lap, but it must be around 3.
Ooh, a lot of gravel for Manuele Norris. Lesmo 2, sorry to interrupt Daniele, but this is a big opportunity then for Gandosi to get himself into 6th position, especially with the demise of Simone Rabiti losing a front wheel in the final sector then. Gandosi very, very close to the back of the number 90 of Manuele Norris. Is it Norris or Norris? Maybe I should...
No, it's Norris.
It's definitely Norris there, just like the British F1 driver. But here comes Gandosi then, almost having a feint to the inside before Parabolica, before returning to the racing line there. Big gap to the 2-second gap to the Mustang of Vidmari, who is some distance behind, but doing a good job saving virtual energy. I think he's got about at least 2 or 3% more than these guys ahead of him. There you go. Actually, he's got 6% more than Gandosi and Norris. But here comes Andrea Gandosi, the Tameli ERT again, just moving around in the rearview mirrors, trying to put Manuel Norris off and force him into a mistake, essentially, by being omnipresent in the rearview mirrors. But here comes Margera and Rokon on 3 and 2% respectively. They've surely got to pit now with 33 minutes left remaining. Yeah,
that's a lap for sure. Margera maybe cutting a little bit less close than Rokon, but Margera in, and Rokon will be in, will follow suit straight out. Pastore will do another lap.
Yeah, 1% for Rokon. He'll have to be very, very careful here as he goes to the pit entry, but it looks like he has made it. He's hit 0%, but that just means he's got less than 1%. It doesn't mean that he's run out and will get that 100-second penalty, but you should be seeing, usually, in this instance, the Porsche especially, when it's low on virtual energy, when you go in the pits, you'll see red lights flashing all over the car, evilly, as if to say that it's about to run out of juice, essentially. But not that these cars are powered by juice, of course, although they've got a big electrical element to them, hence the virtual energy, of course. But yeah, they are hybrid hypercars, of course. So anyway, nonetheless, that is the first of our hypercars in, and that means that we have a new race leader in the form of Nicky Pastore, and Roman Marchand now takes second, about 10 seconds in arrears from Pastore, as now Gandosi is looking really, really impatient to make it through here, as they're starting to pull away from Vidmari in the rearview mirror, and in comes Norris, along with Tuzi as well. So that releases that must be it's not Michele Rizzo, it's Marco Loda Rosini who's been released into third place.
Yeah, so I was wrong, I guess. Sequeira actually has a lot of pace. He pulled out of the pack, obviously profiting from some of the fights as well, but he also managed to save a lot of energy, and I think he might be in this lap or the next lap, and that's already really, really good, because probably everyone else will follow suit. I have to say, the Ford looks like it's really on eco mode. True, Vidmari is not having the best race ever, P6 at the moment, also factoring in the pits, but yeah, really, really interesting with that Ford. I know that for sure. I've actually driven the car a little bit, and the Pastore in as well, Nico Pastore into the pits.
Oh.
And then there's his brother right in front of him.
He's flashing his lights at his brother as well, as to say, "Oh, hello, what happened to you?" Because you were ahead earlier. But yeah, there we go. That's the Pastore brothers and Roman Marchand being serviced, and it looks like Nicola Pastore will be released first, as expected, but through is going to come surely Christian Malguera, unless Pastore has done something clever here. Maybe he's not changed tires, maybe he's underfield virtual energy. Malguera still getting past the Coloni Racing Lexus, and Nicky Pastore is actually going to emerge in the lead down the end of the front straight there with 30 minutes to go, and this could be an amazing play from Team Shiba, but is he going to be low on virtual energy in this final stint? He could end up being a sitting duck for Christian Malguera if he's not careful here. Yet there we go, 76% for Malguera, and we'll wait to see what the topped up virtual energy looks like for Nicky Pastore, as there's a logjam in the pit lane as Rizzo gets in just ahead of his teammate Zitello, who was already being serviced, I think, having pit from P2.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the good things about LMU, where the cars get turned if you go in at a skewed angle. Because in RF2, this wouldn't happen, and you would have to literally make an insane maneuver to go into that tight spot.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, but for sure. Sorry, but I'm really surprised. I'm really surprised about Nicola Pastore. He definitely didn't change tires, looking at the gaps and looking how they came down. Will this be the play? I mean, as you said, Monza is not really one of those tracks where the tire wear is really prominent. I'm generally surprised that Malguera changed tires, but maybe they just know something we don't.
Yeah, Rokon also changed tires along with Malguera, and that means that Roman Marchand has actually jumped up to third as a consequence, ahead of Michele Rokon, and that's another car that could be under threat here, as we see everybody apart from Vidmari, I think, is pit now. Vidmari still with 5% of virtual energy left from this first stint, but Sequeira should lead from Marco Lodi Rosini, Gandosi. I think Gandosi is still going out there, and then it's Manuel Norris, and then it's Tuzi.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Also, Pastore, you can see he has 1% less than Malguera, which means that he definitely didn't underfuel, or if he did just slightly, and maybe the Porsche is just much better on economy. He's also losing a little bit more. The gap used to be 3.2 seconds in the previous split, now it's 2.9.
Yeah. Garden says it's about car differences. All Ferraris are about the same usage. It seems like others can save more virtual energy then, as here comes Tuzi round the outside of Manuel Norris, and Norris gave that one up quite early on the run into Ascara, as we see Ginniken, who had to make another stop actually, I think, on the timing screen, is being lapped in the background there, as now Paolo Penimpede sees his old friend Ramadan, the Somali driver, back in front of him in that bright green and black livery, which you certainly can notice from a mile off. But here comes the armed Serbra driver. Can Penimpede retake that sixth position? He's certainly close enough to mount a challenge in the number 42 Ferrari. Here we go. He's going to be on the outside for Della Roggia. Good defense. Is it going to be good enough for Ramadan to hold on to the position? So far it is, and Penimpede being impeded here. Not a great exit from Ramadan though, so that puts Penimpede up the inside into Lesmo number 1, and he's just going to muscle his way through, so Ramadan yields that 6th position.
Great overtake by Penimpede. I think he lost the position.
Oh, Gandosi cuts the chicane. Oh dear. And that's like Norris back for... No, Tuzi, sorry, not Gandosi.
Yeah, Tuzi got in the chicane. We couldn't really see exactly what happened. I want to say he probably overshot the corner, but as I was saying, I think Penimpede got held up in the traffic jam that happened on the pit road. And that's why he lost the position, but he definitely has more pace than Ramadan, so he managed to get back the position.
Interesting looking at the virtual energy there as well between the two cars. That it looks like Ramadan has got 96, Penimpede's got 67. So he's definitely underfueled virtual energies. Vidmari finally comes in from the lead of GD3, and that is going to hand Abel Sakura back his hard-fought margin that he had over Marco Lodo-Rosini.
Vidmari went very long. I don't know if we can get the graphics up to see how many laps they did, but it's really impressive.
At least 2 more than anybody else. Maybe 3, actually.
Yeah, maybe 3.
I should have been counting, really. There we go. Sakura confirmation does retake the GD3 lead. Where does Vidmari actually come out? And is he also going to try and do something clever by not changing tyres and underfueling virtual energy, potentially? We are still waiting for Marco Lodo-Rosini to come through. Now, Gandosi, I think I did misread it earlier. I think Gandosi has come in and is essentially running in a net P3, depending on where he comes out relative to Vidmari. No, he's not going to be in P3 because Vidmari has overcut him and jumped him onto the podium there. So Daniele Vidmari, take a bow. That is a brilliant strategy play there. And with 25 minutes left to go, the Mustang is on for a podium.
And there's also the fight back for P1. Magera looks on the inside into the Loroja chicane, but cannot make it. The defense by Pastore, but as you can see, he's dropped off massively, and this is probably because he's on worn tires.
Oh, here we go, up the inside.
Tires.
And through goes Christian Malguerra. He retakes the lead with 24 minutes to go here at Monza. And I think that was always going to be the trouble, as you said. Malguerra, oh, the tires just understeering him off into the gravels. Oh, is that the Carloni Racing of Marco Lodo-Rosini in trouble in the background? It was certainly one of the Carloni Racing Lexuses that just went sideways into Lesmo 2. And I think Rosini has held on to second place there. That's the lapped car. Is that Gandosi right behind him, I think? Yeah, it's Gandosi behind Vidmari, sorry.
Yeah, Vidmari, I don't know exactly what happened. This is the kind of strategy that you just look away and you blink and they're third. They're 10th and now they're third. Impressive strategy. Now, again, same kind of dynamics now with Nicola Pastore. He's going to be on worn tires. He definitely underfueled, or rather underfueled as in he didn't top up, because obviously there's only 24 minutes.
Look at this. This is Marchand trying to fend off Rokon. Marchand on the old tires, Rokon on the new ones, and Rokon looks significantly faster then as they go down the main straight. 23 minutes left to go. Will Michele Rokon be feeling brave on the brakes as they go towards the Redifile? He pulls to the outside. Marchand defends the middle of the road, tries to crowd Rokon out, but goes deep into the chicane and is going to try and block the path of Michele Rokon to prevent him getting on the power early enough. Rokon on the outside. Curva Grande is now going to try and make sure he gets the inside for Della Roggia here. The Ferrari buzzing all over the back of the Toyota here as there's more GT3 traffic alongside. Rokon to the outside. Della Roggia, that's ambitious. Is there going to be room for both of them? Over the curb goes Rokon. They rub into each other and Michele Rokon is very literally going to muscle his way through into Lesmo number 1 there, and nothing really that Marchand could have done there, but that was very, very aggressive from Rokon.
Stalwart defense by Marchand. But Rokon just again, same thing, different strategy, better tires. He was always going to go through. Obviously, I didn't expect Marchand to defend as hard, but props to him.
Yeah, and now Vidmari, his strategy, staying out as long as it is, put him in this position. But now Gandosi is looking a bit quicker. He's got the inside for Ascari. Oh, how did they not make contact there as the Mustang cuts across the front of the BMW then? And there's only 22 minutes left on the clock then. So if Gandosi wants this podium, he's had a brilliant recovery so far in this race. But it's the two strategy masters going wheel to wheel here. And Gandosi is looking racy.
Di Maria defending really, really hard here, like Leonidas.
Wide.
His 300, man.
And it's very wide from Vidmari, so
yeah.
Not very 300 like. he needs a little pass.
Well, they lost in the end, right?
Rather, yeah, they did actually, but it did take a while. As up the inside I mean, we can talk about the historical accuracy of 300 till the cows come home, but there goes Gandosi really deep on the brakes, and he doesn't make the chicane there, so he's going to have to lift off and potentially give that third place back to Vidmari.
Yeah, what do you do now? What do you do now? Do you just lift off and give up the position, or do you just go because he was already ahead? Again, this is one of the gray areas.
Well, he's going to lift off. He's certainly going to let Vidmari get alongside. Will he let him go back through? Indeed, he does. Brakes early on the inside. Vidmari has to go the long way round. Gandosi goes well over the curb, but he's back down to fourth position now, immediately on the attack then, as he nails the exit from Della Roggia, and that felt almost like Vidmari let him through there, not intentionally of course, but he just did not get the exit because he had to compromise his entry going the long way round on the outside, and then he had to return to the racing line. So that was clever stuff from Gandosi.
Yeah, I think it was all about that, just being clever, just being smart, slowing down the right point, putting Vidmari a little bit off into the braking zone, and then profiting from it.
Here's Zitello, a driver who lost out big time in the pit stops, and the two Virtual Drivers Alliance cars are 7th and 8th, and Zitello now has to fight his way past Norris and Tusi, who himself has lost out from second position as well. So these two have gone from being basically second and third in the race to being 5th and 7th then. How much longer will that be the case? Zitello, oh, that's an insight into the parabolic Alboreto, and Norris wanted no part of that whatsoever. He took the widest entry ever, left plenty of space for the VDA car, and now Tusi is going to go toe-to-toe with Zitello then as they go towards the Redifilio. Less than 20 minutes remaining in this race here, and 5th place is very much up for grabs. And, dipping the wheels into the gravel goes Tusi, so a crucial mistake there. That's surely going to give Zitello the run around the outside. And Salvatore Zitello needs to make sure he nails the braking here, as he has got enough overlap. Pushes Tusi to the outside and then relents a little bit by moving to the middle of the road. But yeah, the move is completed, and Zitello in quick succession gains 2 places. But I think Tusi was not impressed by that one. He's flashing the lights.
Flash of the lights, yes. Definitely a bit of moving under braking. Zitello squeezing the officially delivered WRT BMW of Tusi towards the white line. Again, it's the usual thing. What do you do? Do you give a penalty for this? I think it was a bit rough. In BTCC, this would fly. Maybe in GT3 racing, it wouldn't.
Certainly British Touring Car Championship has some interesting amount of contact, more than NASCAR, where weapon is racing, as they say. Yeah, the interesting thing about Nicky Pastore's strategy, okay, I'll get through fairly quickly, but real fight is that P2 on Rokon. Rokon is starting to catch here at quite a rate of knots too. The gap about 15 seconds, isn't it, with 18 minutes left to go. So by not changing tyres, it's a bit of a gamble that he can nurse them to the end before Rokon catches him. Zitello, meanwhile, very much on fire. Next target, Vidmari, who was about 2 seconds up the road. Here comes Manuel Norris, who's about to be unlapped by Simone Rabiti, I think, on his recovery drive then. So Rabiti in the Lexus, fair play to him. He's just absolutely going for it, and he doesn't really care where he finishes because he's a lap behind everybody else. At least a lap, possibly 2 laps, actually.
It's a stellar display of resilience, especially in the race where he was out with 35 minutes to go, and he's still fighting, still driving. this is commitment. I really, really like this.
Me too. Ramadan is in the pits again, so that hands sixth well and truly to Pen Pede there, and in fact that's to retire, so we have lost Ramadan then, which is a huge shame, because as we see the PNG crowd there looking as depressed as Ramadan is, I imagine.
As dazed as everyone else, yeah.
Roman Marchand comes in, so he is giving up on his strategy. That's going to hand fourth place back to Giuseppe Pastore.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be strategy. It must be a damage or even a penalty for Marchand. That looks like a drive-through, and I want to say it's probably for track limits.
Ooh, I think you're almost certainly bang on the money there, Daniele. So Marchand gets going again in fifth position, about 9 seconds down on Giuseppe Pastore, as now Zitello has got his sights well and truly set on that Mustang. He has been lapping about at least half a second lap quicker per lap. So this is looking encouraging here. And Vidmari is still within about 9/10 of Gandosi as well. So Zitello could well be still on for a podium here. I think he may have changed tyres while those around him and ahead of him may have decided to double stint them.
Oh, for sure. I think Vidimari is also using this unintentional DRS from Gandosi ahead of him. And we'll see. We've seen the dynamics between the BMW and the Lexus on the straight with the top speed. It'll be interesting to see what the Ford can do. I believe it can run minimum wing here, the Ford, and the BMW as well. So it's going to be basically going to be on the same level, and we'll see what car is actually faster. Also, nice to see the weather, I think. The weather looks, I want to say, light clouds. And the air is quite chilly. I think it's close to what we had today in Monza, actually. On the track around 36. It'll be these are the sort of conditions that benefit cars like the Porsche, like the BMW, who are generally very good on warming the tires up, while the Lexus, for example, struggles a little bit more. It really struggles to get the tires up into the window, and that's probably one of the reasons why, if you're driving a Lexus here in Monza and the race is 75 minutes long and you happen to be signed up to the EEC, you don't want to change tires.
Yeah, Vidmari dips his wheels into the gravel at Lesmo 2, and all you can see Zitello feeling the urgency, the need to get through here as they go towards Ascari, he's got the inside and he completes the move there. So Vidmari really could not have done very much at all at that point, especially with the race leader coming through to lap them in the form of Malguera, and it's getting very, very hectic behind, but that puts Zitello into fourth position and only 1.5 seconds behind Andrea Gandosi. Catching Marco Loda Rosini 7 seconds up the road might be a tough ask, but Zitello's still got 40 minutes left on the clock. You never know what could happen here. We see a couple of comments from, I think, this Gardinetto, who's a Garden on YouTube. He says, Vidmari's strategy is backfiring. Alessandro Apolloni says he's cooking. So Apolloni seems to have a difference of opinion, or maybe he's talking about Zitello, I guess.
I think Apolloni is a little biased. I would agree, yes, the strategy from Vidimari is very good. He definitely gained a lot of positions, although now the strategy is also backfiring. So everyone's right, but everyone's also wrong at the same time. It will be a very tough 14 minutes, for Vidimari now.
Yeah, still finishing fifth would be a lot better than, was it P9 that he was running in for most of the first stint then? So
even P10
that really, it was, yeah. So let's see if he can keep Tuzi and Norris behind, because they've certainly not gotten too close, but Norris in particular got a lot of virtual energy, as does Zitello, it must be said. So yeah, I think Gandosi will be looking a bit worried here, because he knows he too was on a sort of similar strategy to Vidmari, but now he's starting to see it backfire a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder if he also underfueled a bit, or under-energied. How would you say? He just put maybe less energy. It seems to be 35 against like 39 and even 40s of some of the cars around him.
Yeah, indeed. So this will be fascinating to see Zitello now well and truly honing in on the rear of the Tomeli ERT BMW then. So we've got our two Italian teams, ERT and VDA, all with three initial names as well, interestingly, about to do battle for the final podium spot here. We haven't talked much about Abel Sequeira, 12 seconds in the lead of GD3, but really, he has just absolutely led from the front and not put a foot wrong, and it looks like he is going to go one better than he did in Portimao, especially with Luca D'Amelio absent. This is very good news for Abel.
Yeah, I think this track is also very favorable to the BMW. So maybe Luca probably would have not been able to fight Sequeira. Looking at his pace today, he's been absolutely stellar. I have to say, I didn't expect him to be this quick.
Yeah, certainly. Gandosi's wishing that he wasn't at the moment. But here we go then. Zitello has pulled about 2 seconds to Vidmari now, who's about 2.5 seconds ahead of Tutsi. As now you see the rear wing of the BMW held up high, as Zitello will be hoping that he can breeze past this blue and black machine in front of him and make it disappear into the rearview mirror rather than being all over the front of his windshield. As we see behind, up the inside already, Gandosi takes a wide is on the inside, and is being overtaken around the outside by Zitello, which is not the easiest move to pull off. But yeah, Salvador Zitello just seems to have so much more grip and confidence. There was almost like Gandosi was standing still there.
It's like a different class, for sure. It's like a GT3 and a GTE.
I thought he was going to hold on for a lot longer there, and now maybe even Marco Lodi Rosini might be looking at that 7-second gap and seeing it reduce dramatically in this final stint of the race then. So yeah, every reason to keep pushing to hold on to second place now, as Gandosi desperate to hold on. At least he's got the little buffer to Vidmari, you can just see in the background, who has been caught by about half a second on this lap by Tutsi as well. It'd be interesting to see the gap between Nicky Pastore and Michele Rocon, because we did see Rocon lap these two the previous time around. So it'd be interesting to see if he's been able to close in or not, as there is Manuele Norris. He wants a piece of Tutsi as well, but he's just sort of been following around and not really gaining any ground at this phase here. It's been a bit of a quiet final stint for Norris, as you've seen other cars breeze past him. You can see Rizzo is actually starting to catch in the second VDA car as well.
As Giuseppe Pastore also comes into the fray of these GT3 fights. Very, very unfortunate race for him, we have to say. Was looking really, really good. Looked even faster than his brother. But then, unfortunately, we couldn't really see exactly what happened. He was facing the wrong way into T1.
Yeah, we saw the second incident, but not the original one that lost him. That put him down to 4th, and then the second contact put him down to 5th. So at least with Marchand bailing out of his strategy, that's given Giuseppe Pastore back 4th position. But yeah, you're right. He was looking very, very good for second. And on a day where the Porsche was surprisingly strong, you got to think the Pastore brothers could well have maybe tried to split the strategies to have one car in front of Malgara through strategy and the other car trying to take advantage to catch up on as a conventional strategy, having changed tyres. So that option was taken away from them by that accident.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the options are basically endless here when you have two cars in the same team, which is a luxury that not many teams have at the moment. You just have to do this. You just have to do it. I mean, when you have both cars in very good positions, I mean, you just have to take it. So splitting strategy is always a good thing in sprint racing.
Pagani in from P9. So it looks like it's going to be a tricky end to his race as he goes long in the box as well for the mcmotorsport.com team by Biogas, of course. So yeah, Nicola Pagani, who had a couple of looked a bit stronger early in the race, didn't he? Is now going to see Ginniken breeze past him there. We also saw Rabiti making, I think, was that another stop in the race, which has put him a lap down essentially. You can see him just there as Ginniken is now another place higher into the top 9, but he himself is a lap down on Sequeira. So yeah, the battle is really the main action on track is that GT3 basically second all the way through to 7th place battle, where nobody's really more than about 2 to 5 seconds apart essentially. And has Zitello taken about 2 seconds out of Marco Lodi Rosini in these last couple of laps as well, because the gap's gone from 2 seconds to 5 seconds, so it could be close at the finish if you can keep that pace up, but 7 minutes to go. It's looking like it's going to be harder for Zitello to gain one more position here.
Yes, is flying in that VDA BMW. Unfortunately for him, there's not enough time. Unless he pulls off a miracle or something happens, which of course we do not wish for, to Lodi Rizzini, this is going to be a P3 for him. And again, very good strategy. They did really everything right, but it wasn't to be.
Certainly, but here comes Rizzo, who has had a bit of a tricky race, looking to at least recover something from it as through goes Paolo Penimpede in the hypercar, the 6th place number 42. But yeah, Rizzo has sort of having to play catch-up in the number 74, which is never much fun, and he's got 2 very similar BMWs that he's got to negotiate here as well. It does look like Tootsie at the head of this train has sort of lost a bit of momentum. He's not really catching Vidmare's Mustang anymore. So it's really becoming these 3 fighting each other over 6th position, really, is becoming the story of the final 6 minutes at the moment.
The cap again, Zitiello from Rizzini coming down slightly, but not enough, 5.1. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, this is curtains for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, 3rd place, I wouldn't say it's exactly
for sure. Yeah. Sure.
Zitello was like P8 after his stop, essentially. It's all Rizzo late on the brakes into Della Roggia and lucky not to clatter into Norris there. So Manuel Norris has a lucky escape, but Tootsie makes a mistake, loses a couple attempts to Vidmare as well. And these 3 are being drawn into each other here, so Tootsie is really feeling the pressure here. You can tell he's a little bit less experienced than some of his rivals in this championship.
It's a really nice fight going on here. 3 BMWs, no car advantage for anyone, really. And it's all about the tires. It's all about how you save them. It's all about how confident you are now when the car gets lighter, gets quicker, maybe a little bit even looser out of these corners when you're running such... Rizzo going all the way around the outside. I don't know if that counts as a track limits and gaining advantage, but now he's on the inside. I've seen a similar move here in the Italian GT last week. It didn't end well. Let's see how this goes. But Rizzo going all the way on the inside. It's a beautiful move by the BMW from Vidier. Tootsie!
Yeah, Tootsie's rear tyres looking like they're absolutely spent at this point, and through goes Rizzo, who does well to avoid him there, but look at Norris slipstreaming behind him. He's going to try and go 3 wide here. This is absolutely insane, this fight for 6th position here. Can Norris get back through on the outside? No! Oh dear, Tootsie taps Rizzo. Rizzo loses control, takes out all the bollards and slams into the barriers.
I will have to basically stop now, or he'll get a penalty for sure, because he cut the track at insane speed. It would even get probably a disqualification if going so fast. And there you go, hard on the anchors. But what happened there? I mean, it never really is easy going 3 wide into such a tough braking zone. The cars move a lot and they're braking.
Yeah, something had to give there, and certainly I think Rizzo will blame Tootsie for moving under braking. And I think Tootsie will say that Rizzo was taking crazy risks, and they're going 3 wide. Usually, if you're going 3 wide, it's either the guy on the outside, or the guy in the middle that has to back off essentially into Redifilio. So in this case, it was the guy on the outside that survived, while the 2 in the middle hit each other.
Yeah, it's always easy for us to judge if we're sitting on our gaming chair, or armchairs, or whatever you're sitting on. And but it's really hard to break in a straight line in GT3s. The ABS moves makes the wheel rattle effectively, and the car keeps on dancing left and right. Yeah. It's really hard to keep one straight line. So just one slight touch. Oh, did I see a crash there?
Oh yeah, Tootsie and Norris were very close together.
No, sorry, I saw wrong. It's fine.
All right,
it was
the crash was the previous lap.
No, it was Nicola Pastori going sideways, and I thought he was about to crash.
Okay, well, he must be running out of tyres then. So it'd be interesting to see as another GT3 dives into the pits. Is that Rabiti again? No, it's Rizzo after the damage, of course, that we saw the previous lap. I was just looking at, I suppose you've got a replay, just looking back at the YouTube stream, and to me it looks like Rizzo pulls a little to the inside to avoid Norris, and then that puts him into the path of Tootsie, and I think Tootsie tried to move a bit more to the inside, but by that point it was a little bit too late. So to me, that really screams racing incident, really, where 3 into 1 just simply doesn't go.
Correct, especially if it's T1 at Monza, which is it's undergone many a renovation. Monza, unfortunately, we're still running on the older version as of now. We've had the latest renovation was in 2024, so this is still the old chicane. But if you go back and see what it used to look like, it was even worse. It was insane. It was a double chicane as well at some point, and absolutely.
That's the one that Mika Hakkinen spun at and ended up
Correct.
crying. And I think Damon Hill also crashed there in the year that he won the championship. So
many
it's sort of a tradition of
many
champions that
situations
end up
there.
crashing
We've seen crazy crashes. Unfortunately, some of them also tragic. Remember Peterson, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Shame, big tragedy to lose Ronnie Peterson, who's up there along with a list of drivers who never won a world championship but had a spectacular driving style. As we see, oh, look at this, Tuzi turns in on, is that Rokon there, who is about 11 seconds, is he 11 seconds then behind Pastore? So Rokon, despite having the fresh tyres, his charge is kind of halted here because he's only really over the last 20 minutes, half hour, gained about a second essentially. So yeah, no such issues for Christian Malguera, who made the move exactly when he needed to and is now 10 seconds clear, which is about...
Yeah, this should be the last lap, actually.
Yeah, I think Pastore's ended up about where he would have been had he done the same strategy as the Simfream drivers, essentially. So it's kind of worked out as expected. Zitello's about 2 seconds behind Marco Lodi Rosini. So yeah, unless they somehow stretch another lap out, if it's a really long final lap, depending on when they get lapped here, I think, he's going to run out of time, as you said, as now Tutsi making a last-ditch effort to get past Norris. But here comes Christian Malguera. Well, it was the lights to flag, import him out, and this time he did have to overtake Nicky Pastore, but it never really looked in doubt, though. Tutsi desperately looking for an opening
close.
on Norris.
It's going to be close for another lap, actually.
Yeah, here we go.
Looking at it, 19 seconds.
Malguera, I think, is crossing the start line about now, so we should be able to see another lap. 10. Is he going to slow down to end the race early, or is he just going to go for it? He's going to continue then, so we will get another lap, and that's music to the ears of Tutsi, who knows he'll have another opportunity here, but that attempt up the inside at Ascari didn't quite pay out here, and now this is going to be an all-out war, no-holds-barred contest for 6th position. Tutsi's already had that contact with Rizzo. He doesn't want to end the race with another incident.
And the switch to the last lap actually fixed the timer at the top, which
no more yellow flag. The ever yellow.
No more yellow
gone.
flag.
But here comes
there you go,
Tusi.
final lap for Tusi. Yeah.
So one more opportunity then for him to get into 6th position. It's been a tough race, having started near the front, and now a top 6 would still be a decent takeaway from Monza. It's going to be late on the brakes up the inside. Norris does not give him any room to get through, and Tutsi sort of has to back out of that one then. But will that compromise Emmanuel Norris's exit here from the Redo Filho into Curva Grande? He is really pushing here to make this overtake happen, but they're running out of time. Zitello is about only a second behind Marco Lodi Rosini in the battle for P2 as well, so this extra lap is giving him another chance. Here comes Tusi squirming around under the brakes, but not able to make it through. And here comes Malguera. One more corner to go, and it's going to be 2 wins in a row for the Italian, the Simfream Esports driver, taking a spectacular win by over 11 seconds here. He weaves, and his home race at Monza, it's in the bag. Christian Malguera takes victory once again, as now surely Abel Sequeira will not be far away from taking his own first victory of the season, as there is Zitello right behind Marco Lodi Rosini, but he's only got one more corner of the race left to go. Here comes the Spanish driver, Abel Sequeira. He dominated this race, and the reward will be victory victory as Michele Rocon comes in third, just behind him, and well done, of course, to Nicky Pastori. He finishes 11 seconds down on the race leader in P2. Here comes Zitello. One last go. It's going to be a drag race to the line, but Zitello is just 3 tenths down, what he wouldn't have given for just that little bit of extra grunt to get him past there on the final lap then. But well done to Michael Ledruzine to hold on to P2 as Tootsie, just starting to run out of tyres there as he goes wide at the final corner, and that means Norris will beat him to 6th position.
Yeah, it didn't quite happen, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, impressive race from Zitello, though. That charge at the end was quite spectacular to watch, but really, the two winners up front, Melgara and Sikora, they've got to be the overwhelming standouts from today, in that they didn't really put a foot wrong, although Nicky Pastori did his level best to give Melgara at least a bit of a challenge, but there was only so much that even he could do. Nicky Pastori, very accomplished driver, as we know.
Well, when you're fighting against Melgara, it's you need to beat him on strategy. He's such a good driver, really fast, really consistent. The one thing you can do is just aim for strategy. I think Melgara's strategy wasn't that great overall. It paid out, it paid off, but Pastore saved more virtual energy, right? He pitted 1 lap later, which I think this is what Melgara should have done. Instead, it worked out because he's just so fast and he's got so much pace. But you look at Rocon, and his race wasn't as spectacular as his teammate.
Yeah, certainly the driver still makes a difference. We see a couple of comments in the chat. Gardenetto says, let's bring back the old oval at Monza. So I don't know if that's a wise move, because I feel like that would just lead to a load of accidents, especially in this game. But anyway,
careful what you wish for.
Yeah, if you want to see the Monza oval, watch the 1966 movie Grand Prix, where they use the sort of oval and the F1 layout as well within the same race. I think it literally crosses over itself, the track, at one point. So anyway, let's confirm the final results. I don't think we have a results screen in the overlay yet, so I'll just read out what's in front of me. We have got our race winner, Christian Melgara in Hypercar, beating Nicola Pastore in the Porsche. Michele Rocon takes third. And then it is Giuseppe Pastore. He's running P2 early on, spun out twice in a row by GD3, means he has to settle for P4. Paolo Penabetta is the final hypercar home in 5th position. And then not finishing the race was Roman Marchand and Ramadan as well in his first appearance in the Ferrari. So let's hope we see the Somalian driver take part again next time. So Marchand, by the way, we think had a big crash, lost his rear wing and decided to call it a day while running in 4th position after being overtaken by Rocon, I believe. In LMGD3,
seems I jinxed Marchand when saying he always takes the car to the end.
Yeah, we praised him a little too much. That's always bound to go wrong in commentary. In LMGD3, Abel Sequeira takes victory by 10 seconds over Marco Lodi Ruzzini. Thank you for that. Salvatore Zitello takes third, narrowly missing out on 2nd place after an amazing comeback for Virtual Drivers Alliance. Then it is Andrea Gandosi that takes P4. Vidamari in the Ford Mustang takes P5 ahead of Manuele Norris. Tootsie takes P7, just missing out to Norris. Then it is Michele Rizzo in P8 after being involved in that contact with Tootsie. And then it is, who'd the last guy?
Van Ginneken.
Van Ginneken, that's it. Van Ginneken that takes P9 after that early stop and a sort of compromise strategy in the Aston Martin. Pagani takes P10, and Simone Robiti, after the huge accident, losing the front left wheel, does put a new one on and finishes the race in P11. Sadly, though, Tobias Blumschein, big crash at Ascari in the early laps of the race, means he again is classed as not finishing the race. So, Daniele, then, that concludes round 2 of the championship. And I think after the half-term break, we're now going to be back every week from now on to finish the season for the final remaining rounds, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember when the next one is, or where the next one is.
We'll be back in 7 days for Bahrain. Yes, and then you're right. It will be a back-to-back. So it's going to be Bahrain, Silverstone, and Qatar in the same 1 week gap. But then we're going to have 2 weeks separating Qatar and Spa-Francorchamps, which is going to be the final race. Don't miss that. It's going to be 105 minutes and 1.5 multiplier for points.
Oh, there we go. So that could be very, very interesting. But certainly in terms of our championship standings, you've got to say Christian Malguera looking very good. MBA. Enjoyed working with you for the first time, Daniele, and I'm hoping to do so again for the rest of the season. We've also had Mariano Callo and Louis Gaspar on broadcast and race direction, respectively, if I'm not mistaken, doing an excellent job behind the scenes to keep the show on the road. So thank you very much for watching, and tune in next week for Bahrain and the third round of this exciting championship on Le Mans Ultimate. Thanks for joining us, and good night.